Welcome everyone back to the CoMitchoner Report. Life is busy. Sorry we didn't have a full report last week. Let's get right into this shit. First off, congratulations to Ryan for making it to the top of the power rankings. I think I can speak for everyone when I hope it doesn't last. Couple of important things. The waiver wire keeper deadline is November 5th. Has to be someone on your roster by then and kept for the remainder of the season for it to be valid. So don't drop them, Eddie, or do. I don't give a shit. Second, the trade deadline also is November 23rd. Any trade involving a team eliminated from the playoff would be reviewed thoroughly. No shenanigans, Brady, hahaha. Third, congrats to Josh for coming back from the dead and becoming relevant. Should make for a great second half of fantasy. Next, I did a Twitter poll for naming this next segment. Out of 150 votes, the winner is Quest for the Dress. That's right. There are 4 teams in contention currently for the Kakashku and all of its glory. Currently those teams are as follows: Liberty City Beavers, Oedipus and the Mama's Boys MCP Pants and Crotches of Fire. 2 of these teams are 2 losses away from being eliminated from the playoffs and the other 2 are tied and it's a points race. Should be interesting to see if Chuck goes from runner-up to running out, which is a key reason he is in the game of the week. That's all I have today to close us out. I present to you Jason and the Argonauts.
Hello, slow children. Welcome to week 8. Sorry for the delay in the video. It's been kind of crazy week. I know Thursday Night Football has already happened. Wasn't too productive for anybody. A couple people got a few points, but no crazy production for anybody. I think the biggest player was Blake Bortles, and he was on Ryan's bench, so nothing too crazy there. So let's just dive right into it. I'll start with actually Ryan versus Brady. I actually like every matchup this week. I think it's going to be a good week. Everyone's pretty close, surprisingly. Even the bottom feeders and the top tiers, no one's projected a huge week. No one's projected a really bad week. So Ryan versus Brady. Ryan's just going to keep riding Spencer Ware and David Johnson until Jamal Charles starts eating into those carries. Spencer Ware's the man. So that continues, and obviously Gronk good. So that keeps going. And as for Brady, he's put himself in good position. He's moved into that 4-3, but he has Le'Veon Bell in a bye this week, so he's got Jacquizz Rodgers filling in the quiz show. And if Cam can stop crying for long enough to play some football, maybe he'll turn it around. But I don't think this week. I think Ryan continues the longest winning streak in the league and advances to 7-1 and holds on to first place. Moving on to second best team in the league, Mike versus Dave, the worst team. I think it's going to be him and Julio down by the schoolyard, if you know what I'm talking about, going against that package secondary. Julio Jones, Randall Cobb, who's just been on fire the last few weeks. Those 2 are just going to light it up. The only downside is he's got Rivers and Gordon going against Denver just like they did 2 weeks ago. Even though they won that game, they had a down fantasy week. I think you can expect kind of a similar output. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. Fortunately for Mike, he's playing Dave, but Dave's kind of got some pieces falling in place finally. James White seems to be Tom Brady's favorite target out of the backfield. Forte looked like he was maybe putting it together last week. Edelman and Devontae Adams looking better, and then Matt Stafford has just been playing lights out. So might be too little too late, but at least he's starting to look a little competitive. But I'm going Mike this week. Moving on to Josh and Bobbitt. Josh on a 3-game win streak after Tom Brady came back. He's been a completely different team. And then he gets Zeke Elliott back this week. So Zeke and Brady back on the field together. And then Devontae Booker moving into the starting lineup with the injury to C.J. Anderson. So Josh got some interesting players out there. And then Bobbitt, Tyrod Taylor, another weapon gone this week with Marquise Goodwin out with a concussion. I think he's just going to chuck the ball 60 yards downfield, and when he's not doing that, I think he's going to run. That could lead to a chaotic game, but it can also lead to a lot of fantasy points for a quarterback. See Blake Bortles on Thursday Night Football. You could just get tons of garbage points. So I think Tyrod Taylor gets a lot of points. Dez comes back. That could be huge, especially in a primetime game. And then I think it's going to be one of A.J. Green's big weeks. Call me crazy, but I think Bobbitt picks up his second win of the season. I'm going Bobbitt this week. Moving on to myself versus Mitch. DeMarco Murray already played. Thanks to the blowout, DeMarco Murray did not play much of the fourth, so it kind of held him in check, even though he still got close to 20 points. Could have been a lot worse. Derrick Henry stole a touchdown early in the game, and then got most of the carries towards the end. He's got Moncrief coming back. He hasn't played most of the year. And then it's a lot of Seahawks for him. So, Wilson, Graham, and their defense all going for Mitch. And then on my side, the newly acquired Allen Robinson wasn't great, but his 13 points already outscored all 4 of my Thursday night players from last week. So I'll take it. Starting 2 Packers this week. Got Jordy and Ty Montgomery going against Atlanta, who's not been great on defense. So I'm hoping that pays off. Having to start Frank Gore with all my injuries to my running back. And then for the first time in a long time, James back in the starting lineup. So hopefully that Oakland secondary is still weak. I think they're worst 5 in the league against the pass. So I'm going to go myself against Mitch this week. Taking us to our game of the week. We've already kind of announced it on Facebook, but kind of important because I think winner stays in the playoff talks while loser falls out of it. It will be Taco versus Chuck. Chuck on a 4-game losing streak currently. He's just been awful. He gets Cousins and possibly Reed back this week in London. His original team name possibly back together. He's got the newly acquired Emmanuel Sanders going against San Diego. And he's got Dak on primetime. See what he can do. He seems like the kind of player that's going to shine in that spotlight. And then for Taco, he's already had both his running backs play on Thursday Night Football. He got about 22 points. Not great, but I think higher than they were projected, so that kind of actually helped him out. And then Rodgers has been passing more in the last 3 weeks than he has his entire career. So that bodes well for him. I think Crabtree has a huge game. But what I think really decides this game is the trade between these two that happened a few weeks ago. I think the Minnesota D against Chicago actually scores Taco quite a few points, and I think that'll be the deciding factor in this week's game of the week. I'm taking Taco over Chuck, and Chuck will continue his losing streak and put it at 5 losses in a row. And there you have your Week 8 predictions. Enjoy it, slow children. Happy Halloween.